First of all, I want to welcome everyone here tonight. This was truly a spur-of-the-moment deal, and we tried to reach everyone that was in some way or another associated with Dr. Campbell and Ms. Campbell. And you can see we got a hold of both of them. And I'm going to tell you, if it weren't for Terry Watkins and Westbrook Secretary Sandy, we would have never pulled this off, so a big to-do to both of those guys. Please enjoy yourself. If anybody wants to say anything, the floor is open. I'm going to turn it over to Johnny, and then maybe another one or two, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, John. This really was for a moment a few weeks ago. Now, you have to understand, John and I are both on the state medical board, so every time we come down here,
that is funny.
every time we come down here and say we need to call the chief and take him out to dinner, and we have done that a couple of times. And so we decided we were going to do this time, and then we started thinking, well, who can we call to go out with us? So we called you. And here's the deal. Here's the deal. Here's the man, and here's everybody in the room that loves him.
Here, here, here.
He was the inspiration for everyone who went through the residency. I could only personally say how much he means to me, but I won't do that, except to him. But he's been such an influence on all of us, and I think you can look around the room, and all of us would recognize that the best surgeons there ever were in this state are right here in this room. And between him and our blessed departed staff people, which we also love, are the reason for that. And a lot of us grew up in the old days, and we operated our brains out, and we had more material to work on, and they just let us do it, and we got really good. That's the truth. And everyone knows that, but it's all due to Dr. Campbell, and when he flew into town, everything was absolutely up. Here's the other important thing to remember. Dr. Campbell wanted to recruit from within, and almost everybody that was a resident, save a few, are in-state people, and he wanted to keep them in-state. So he populated the whole state with surgeons from his generation of teachers, when it probably wasn't as popular to do that, or it was beginning to not be that popular. And I can bet you one thing, Dr. Campbell. I bet you've got a bigger party tonight than some former dean of the medical school.
I just want to say, I think we'll all also remember Dr. Fred Caldwell and Ray Reed. Ray Reed died in January. They were also great contributors. A little bit different.
It may have been after training was over with that we think as much of them as we think of you, and honestly, we loved them all. And that was the only other thing I wanted to do, is just take a moment, maybe a moment of silence or whatever, or we can tell some bad jokes about them because they're not here to defend themselves. But think about it. Bernie Thompson, Fred Caldwell, Dr. Reed, and all of our residents that came through the program that aren't with us today. And I've got a piece of paper, but I think I know who they are. Gary Meek, who recently died. Dr. Rucco, Mike Rucco. Joe Crumpler, Ed Strickland, Bob Bryant, who killed in a car wreck before he finished his residency. Tom Bell. Tom Bell. Now, Tom Bell. I'm getting there. Tom Aaron and T. Bell, who, by the way, at the last little party we had for Dr. Campbell, he came down and would not have missed it for anything. Dr. Campbell and I were at his funeral as well. And Dr. Campbell did say, however, that said they hopes that they got more seats for his extended family than just the front row, because that alone will take care of all of his wives and girlfriends. There's a lot of other stories, and I hope some of you will come up with some of the old stories that we have to tell. But, you know, there are obviously, if you look at the Ten Commandments, there's some things that we just simply can't talk about. At any rate, I think that, who's next?
Well, I want to recognize
And I'm done.
Dr. Turnage and Dr. Bentley in the back, Chief and Vice Chief of Surgery now. I want to recognize them. Many of you may not know them. And the next, y'all raise your hands so that. There you go. And next I want to turn it over to Dr. Jim Bledsoe and Senator Cecile Bledsoe.
Well, I didn't know I was supposed to say anything, but Dr. Campbell, I'll do the best I can. Dr. Campbell, you don't remember this, obviously. We started medical school, Johnny Wise, Jim Beckman, Richard McKelvey, back in 1965. And back then, it was a law that to get your license, you had to take the healing arts test. You took the healing arts test with my class. And I also overheard your comment that we had the portion on the heart. And you said, whoever made that test out about the cardiopulmonary physiology had no clue what they were doing. And I remember that to this day. But,
and I remember he left after 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, to say the least, it was a ridiculous test. But I was chief arrest in 1974, finished up in 1974. And anyway, Cecile is a state senator. She's from District 3. And she graciously signed a citation to you. Let her do it now.
This is from the Senate, Dr. Gilbert, and it says, whereas Gilbert S. Campbell, M.D., Ph.D., served as professor and chairman of the Department of Surgery, College of Medicine, University of Arkansas for Medical Science, UAMS, from 1965 through 1983, where he supervised the teaching of about 2,000 medical students and the training of about 100 general surgeons. And whereas Dr. Campbell developed the research program in the Department of Surgery, integrated the Veterans Administration and UAMS surgery programs, facilitated the development of surgery subspecialties at UAMS, and enhanced the stature of the University of Arkansas Department of Surgery at the national level. And whereas Dr. Campbell facilitated transition of the University Hospital from primarily a charity hospital to a tertiary referral hospital, championed transparency in the analysis of surgical procedures and complications, and played a major role in the evolution of UAMS, its Department of Surgery, and University Hospital. And whereas the members of the Arkansas Senate wish to join those who gather on April the 9th, 2015 to honor the invaluable service and contributions of Dr. Gilbert S. Campbell that will remain his lasting legacy. Now, therefore, pursuant to the motion of Senator Cecile Bledsoe, the Arkansas Senate directs that this citation be presented on this day. President Pro Tem Jonathan Dishman and Senator Cecile Bledsoe.
Now, you've never been at a loss for words, Dr. Campbell.
And you have to follow that. That was just one. That was one sentence right there.
You have to remember, it's hard to improve on silence. So, but anyhow, it was. I've had a few little medical problems, but my wife, and I've had her for a long time.
You're good.
She's really, I don't know how she does it because she has rheumatoid arthritis, but she's been looking after me. you so many thanks. John Weiss, who, and Charlie Watkins and others who are here, but my daughter Muffin and her golf son, Miles Smith, who broke par at the Red Apple. We're looking forward to his turning pro, and if I live long enough, he can support me.
The only thing that you ever broke was the golf cart we gave you.
Then, and my son John, who's at the university, and in Virginia they call it the university. Now I know there's some W&L people here. We call them the Dirty Minks. But anyhow, John has his 3 sons here, so we're loaded with grandsons. And I must say, grand is a wonderful description of the 4 grandsons. Thank you so very, very much. I owe so much to all of you who made our life meaningful and happy. Thank you.
All right,
Plenty of food.
the floor is open for anybody else who wants to come back and tell a story. Or not.